We are here. We are here. All right. So, Undiscovered, I am hosting and moderating the streetwear, fashion, and media panel that we are about to get into. We've assembled a really dope team, a really good team, super experienced, really deep team of both Filipinos and Filipino Americans. So I'm excited. I get to host a lot of events that circle around fashion, streetwear, and creative careers. And I always learn something. So this is the first time where I have a panel where we're deep all the way from Manila, which is very fitting for the event and for the month, all right? For the month that we're having. So I'm enthused, I'm psyched to be a part of it. Before we get into getting my people onto this live stream, I wanna give a big shout out to Undiscovered. They're an amazing team to work with. Aaron, Jen, I just talked with Gina backstage, and RJ is on ones and twos. So there's a lot of people behind the scenes getting this whole thing together. So I appreciate all of their efforts to have this forum where we could bring to you guys some compelling content. So thank you, and thank you, Collective Hustle as well. So we have an array of speakers that are going to be blessing the stage with me. Before I get them on, I'm going to give you a quick 1-2 about me, and then you don't have to hear anything else about my background. My name is Jon Phenom. I've been designing apparel and fashion for over 20 years. So I'm talking about boots in the ground in northern, southern China, Korea, Philippines, all for production, Hong Kong as well. The last 3 companies, I was a director of some sort, so a creative director of some kind. A lot of people, most people know me these days from YouTube, so I have a YouTube channel that's right here on my name. So I help brands get to another level, or I help brands launch. So Clothing Brand Academy is kind of where I push all of those solutions for brands, but styling, designing, working in all aspects of brand, and now consulting brands in almost every single aspect of like multi-million-dollar brands and running that. So that's me. Again, I'm super excited to be on here, but I am not the only one. So I'm gonna let everybody come on and then tell us a little bit about their story. And remember, guys, I know you're backstage right now. We have a tight 40 minutes, minus 6 minutes of me rambling. So give us your story for this beginning part. Let's try to keep it around 3 minutes. But having said that, I want you guys to meet Lady Maximo.
Hey, Jon.
Hey, lady. What's going on?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So I know you as an amazing stylist.
Thank you.
And your resume is crazy. But I don't know. Like, let's familiarize our audience with your story. How'd you get it to where you're at and what you're doing now?
Okay. Hi, I'm Lady Maximo. That's my real name. Lady first name, Maximo last name. And I am actually born and raised in the Philippines, in Manila. I came to the United States in 2009, and I went straight to FIDM, which is a fashion school in LA. And right away, I wanted to be a stylist. I knew I wanted to be a stylist. I was already dabbling in styling. I lived in China for 2 years after I graduated and worked in the Philippines. And so I knew what program I wanted to go into when I got to fashion school, which is visual communications. I did a year in fashion school, and I started, interning for like top stylists, just like volunteering my time at fashion shows and stuff like that. Just, really like trying to improve my portfolio while I was in school. That way, when I graduate, I can be competitive. And because I was already older, I was in school. I was 27 when I was in school in 2009. And, a lot of my classmates were straight out of high school. So I knew I needed to edge them out. So I just started, interning, volunteering. And then, while I was like, when I did visuals for Banana Republic stores. But my dream was to be a full-time stylist, like work on models and people and not mannequins and, bust forms. So I eventually heard of an opening at www.drjays.com, which is an e-commerce, urban kind of streetwear, skatewear, fashion website. They are originally based from New York, but their photo studios are in San Diego, and I was in LA. So I was like, I'll move to San Diego, So I applied and got hired in early 2013, and I've been there since. And while I'm there, I'm the only head stylist. I'm the head stylist, the only stylist. So my job is to book models, look at the product that's coming in, book the right model, and then style each outfit. And then we have an in-house photographer that shoots it, and we upload the images, and the customer shops for it. So I've been in that job since 2013, and I've also been really building my freelance portfolio. So I don't know if we want to get into like companies I've worked with, but basically, yeah, I'm a full-time stylist and also doing freelance. So day job and freelance together.
Yes, and so check her out, definitely. Not now, but you guys can open a tab when we're done. Open a tab on her social at Lady Maximo. She has a really thorough history. For now, we're gonna also meet another panelist. So let's get Elle on here. It's just Elle. There you go.
Oh, I've been wondering if this thing was gonna work.
So guys, my bad. I've known Elle for quite a while. I'll say the first word is photographer, but he does a lot of things in terms of like creating creative content. But Elle, tell us a little bit about your story and what you do.
Yeah, I am a photographer, creative director, filmmaker, mainly storyteller. People hire me to tell stories. I am one of the originals from LRG Clothing. One of my first shoots was with Kanye West. I did all their campaigns from 99 to about 2004, 2005. So, and here I am just creating every day, and I'm a dad.
Nice. Heavy grind. His handle is it's just Elle?
Yeah. Oh, it's .just.L. That's my thing for Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, so want to plug that. So amazing work that he's done in the past. Great resume. Next, I want to bring on Jowee from Team Manila.
Hey! From Manila. It's morning here.
It's morning. What time is it there?
It's 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jowee. I'm the creative director of Team Manila. We started 2005. Actually, we saw you early on when we were starting, John. You visited our studio.
Yes, yeah, in person. That was so long ago, but it was great to meet you then.
I think that was like 2006.
Yep.
So I started. I went to CalArts, took my master's there in graphic design, and during that time we saw like really good graphic designers from different places. So we wanted to tell the story of Manila when I got back here in the Philippines. So we really started as a graphic design studio, and eventually we did our clothing in 2005. So we're still doing Team Manila right now and Daily Grind. So happy to be here with everyone, man.
Right. And so at Team Manila, everyone can find you, and then at Daily Grind?
Daily Grind Clothing.
Yun. Okay. And amazing work from Team Manila. Since that time where we met, I've followed you and how the agency has grown and your apparel has grown. So really excellent work there. Want to bring on another panelist, Mark Arcenal. Yo.
What's up, fellas? What's up, lady?
Yo.
Hey, Mark.
Mark, the first thing I think of is fatlace.com, also Illist, your brand. But tell people who are under a rock and don't know who you are, what you've done. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Mark. I've been I was in advertising for a very long time. Nike saw me in the advertising world, and they hired me for a while. I was their global design director for Nike Sportswear before it launched. And then after that, around 2009, I started Illust. Actually, I started while I was at Nike, but you know,
On the
moved on
low?
to that. Yeah, on the low. And then now I kind of sold the brand a little. You know, I sold a big percentage of it. Now I just do the creative for the brand, and I work on other people's brands as well.
Great. And then what's the main Instagram handle for you?
Just Mark Arcenal, but it's more acronym MRK.RCNL.
There you go. Huge resume. I don't know if you guys have heard of that small company Nike, but Mark's an OG. He's been putting it down. Amazing work from this guy. Next, I want to bring on Jeneille onto the panel. Hey.
Hi, how are you? Hi, everyone. My name is Jeneille Ancheta. Born and raised in San Francisco, and after college at UC Santa Cruz, I just went straight into working and trying to get myself involved in fashion in any way. So after school, I relocated down to Los Angeles and continued to work with a couple of labels, and which, you know, helped out with opportunities for me to work with brands like Adidas, Hudson Jeans, and actually work in wardrobe in film and entertainment. And I'm currently spearheading all the partnership marketing at the brand Rastaclot.
Yes, shout out Rastaclot. I love the bracelets from them. Jay, what's the handle? Your Instagram handle?
My Instagram handle is SS Neil.
That's it.
Yeah.
I love this story.
My nickname,
by the way.
Oh, I know. Yeah, me and Charlie had a conversation about that earlier. So
at some point, probably maybe not this forum, but I want to go in depth with that. So welcome to the panel to tell us about marketing and partnerships. The last person I want to introduce to the panel is Charlie Kane.
What's up?
Hey, Charlie.
Hey. First of all, thank you, John, for hosting this. And it's just truly an honor to share this space and moment with all of you guys. So thank you for including me. I'm Charlie Kane. That is not my real name. It's an alias that I go by. But I'm a writer, producer, and independent curator that's currently based in Chicago. That's why I'm super bundled up compared to everybody else. But I've also lived in SF and Los Angeles as well. My work has primarily focused on giving education and context around streetwear, really digging into the trends and the culture or streetwear culture, and telling stories about the lifestyle and also telling stories about the youth. My current work has been focusing more on defining what women's streetwear is, building women empowerment, talking about 21st century education, as well as now tapping into Filipino American stories. Primarily, my practice has been rooted in writing, but I've been able to grow and branch out. I've recently directed a mini documentary about women DJs across the US. I've been able to give a TEDx talk about streetwear, about the merch and the experience economy. I've been blessed and grateful to cover stories about Virgil Abloh and Takashi Murakami. And yeah, I'm just trying to put in the work. And currently, my biggest initiative is trying to develop an exhibit around Filipinos in streetwear called Best Kept Secret.
Nice. Best Kept Secret. And you have Girl Talk. She's indeed an alumni of TED Talks. So you guys should look her up on that. Oh, what's a good handle for people to kind of check you out?
I would say you can just start with @BestKeptSecret, and then you'll find me through that as well.
Perfect. So let's do this, guys. I want to be fair to make sure everyone has a chance to kind of contribute. So I've been thinking about this one. Let's do this. I want to say, like, for a brand in this time and age where there's a lot of chaos, Also, it's very new. Like, so I literally consulted with a brand the other day from Florida, but the same advice I would give a brand now is completely different than I would literally give them. Well, literally than I would give them before March, but that's one thing. But in terms of the times of changing for a brand that's important or a designer that's important, in your perspective from your like career, like what is important for a brand to keep in mind in these times? And I'm gonna have Mark Arcenal go first, just so there's not the awkward like who goes first. But Mark, from your perspective, I mean, dating all the way back to Nike, and the things you've learned running your own brands, you've run a couple different things, publication, all of that. What's important for a brand via your experience?
I think for me, I think right now it's just there's so much. I guess everything's like kind of run by social right now. So I kind of you look at that trend and you know that it's not going to go away for a very long time. So you just kind of have to figure out how to get your, I guess, the brand visually in front of everyone. That's the hardest thing that any brand, new brand or old brand can do, right? So I think a lot of people are leveraging a lot of artists, a lot of, and you know, like if they're in sports, they're going to try and figure out how they can get on the best athlete as well. But you know, it's very difficult. But at the same time, I don't think people should be discouraged by it. I think they just have to keep trying to push and be consistent.
Great. Anyone else jump on it from your experience? What does a brand need to know right now? Oh, I didn't even call on you like a teacher.
No, okay.
Someone out,
The important, just the top of what Mark was saying, social is definitely a heavy player in what's going on out there, and with a lot of brands and then a lot of key public figures is just really engaging with the audience or community and showing how they themselves can be involved, and then also educating and informing them. We can read things on social media, and then those opinions or ideas can be skewed. So it's just it's having that tool to connect to your market, to your consumer, as if you're talking to them in person on the phone, through social, and then enlightening and encouraging them to do the research for themselves and educate them, watching videos or reading about things or reading books and listening to aspirational and motivational speakers. That has in itself created a community where everyone then feels like there's some sort of togetherness, and then they're not alone. And we all know that facing quarantine, it was really testing everyone's emotions, everyone's mental well-being. So us as brands have to really pivot and develop and advocate just more positive reinforcement through messaging, conversations, storytelling, and all those key things. And it could kind of align in a really great situation where we're all not feeling like we're all alone. We're all in this together and can connect the dots outside of even our own bubble.
Right. Someone want to add into it?
Yeah, let me just piggyback off, because we started talking about social media, and it's saturated. The market is definitely saturated, but I think more than ever, especially with this next generation, with Gen Z, authenticity is so important. So what do you stand for? What is your brand trying to communicate? What legacy do you want to leave? I think even though some people want to take politics out of it, it's not necessarily about politics. It's about raising awareness on what you're trying to align your brand with. Is it about identity? Is it about visual culture? Is it about advocacy and standing for something? So I think more than ever, the lens of authenticity is so important.
Very much so. Very much so.
I'd like to. Go ahead, lady.
Oh, okay. I guess ladies first. I guess from a styling perspective, I agree. Like you should have a story that you're trying to share, to convey to your potential customers. And from a styling perspective, I think it's just really important that your visuals that you are, putting out through social media and whatever, it really aligns with what your story is as a brand, and because customers want to relate and they want to live the lifestyle that you are like selling to them, but they don't want to feel like you just keep trying to take their money and sell it to them. They want to see visuals that inspire them and that they can relate to and they can aspire to. So make sure your visual, like you really think about the visuals that you're putting out and how much it really translates who you are and your authenticity and who you believe in and what your story is as a brand.
Great point. Jowee, go ahead and continue.
Yeah, for Team Manila, I think what works right now is like we've always been the voice of our audience or our customers. So we have this dialogue going on with our old customers or new customers, and then we try to feel what their sentiments are, and then through that we align it with the designs that we're coming out with. So the collection that we have is in a way a voice of our audience. So there's like reflection of that one. So we try to, like what Mark said, through social we get to interact with them, and then really not just coming out with our own messages, but the message of our community as well. So that works for us. Yeah.
Elle, do you have anything on what a brand should know coming into the game at this point with what you've learned?
I think right now it's a good time to be a guide, to give the customer a direction, or give them direction and become a hero. So it's like whether it's educating and adding value to what it is you're trying to educate them on and what your brand is. If it's clothing, I believe that it should definitely connect with people. You should definitely come from somewhere. And just adding more value to who you are, what you represent, where you come from, and where you're going, and why you do what you do.
Very much so. I just want to add, everyone, great answers. For any brands that are watching, this is a tough time, but I think there's a lot of opportunity and chaos. The brand that I talked to the other day, they made a couple of changes in their business plan, and despite, if you watch my channel, I talk about how bad retail is right now, but via retail, they did 65 grand last month, and they did 120 grand over the last 3 months as a brand new brand in this social climate right now. I talked to another brand in Texas about a week ago that does 35 grand in a month, and they're trying to get into the sort of the Under Armour game and do an accessory. So there's opportunity and chaos for sure for new brands. But I agree with everyone, storytelling is really important. Let's see with the timing. Here's what I want to do. Same thing in terms of answering from your perspective, but what is something about the industry? Because in a way, we're all united here with fashion and or streetwear or media in some way that revolves around that culture. What's something for someone who might want to be, ladies, someone might want to be a stylist. Charlie, someone might want to be a curator. I know you've done a lot of writing as well. Jay, I know someone wants to get into marketing. If I wasn't a designer, I always say I wish I would have gone in marketing. All of you have a different experience. What's one thing that someone, if they're looking to really progress in maybe your job or in the industry, what's something you learned that you wish you would have known in the beginning? And I'm gonna make Charlie go first.
You know, I felt like growing up, it wasn't possible to be doing what I'm doing currently. You know, I started off in pre-med and all of a sudden I studied fashion journalism. All of a sudden I'm like in education and trying to curate. So I would really say to like open up your mind with the possibilities and hone in the talents and skills that you have, and to make your way. You know, I think my career path has been very DIY. It's not very like I didn't go through institutions to get to where I am. I've kind of like kept taking opportunities and would build up on those opportunities. So if you're trying to become a writer, start small, like start a blog, start pitching your pieces to editorials. If you're trying to become a curator, you have to understand that there are some, I guess, like institutional practices versus being an independent curator. If you're being an independent curator, you can easily work with a gallery or funding to pop up a gallery space, versus if you're trying to get into the museum setting, there's a lot more hierarchy that goes into that. You have to go get your like post-secondary education and masters and develop through that way. But I think with this new generation and just not shortcuts, but I think there are definitely possibilities to get into that route, and that's what I'm trying to do right now.
Okay, anybody jump in? What have you learned that's helpful for someone who might want to get into the path that you've already traveled?
I'll top off too. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
Jeneille, go.
Jeneille.
Oh, okay. I'll top off at Charlie's. Where she was discussing, it's keeping an open mind. I mean, I started doing customer service, on 100 calls a day, and then that got me into customer service on the wholesale side, which led into representing brands at a trade show, which go into sales. And that transitions, and not only are you selling the product, you're also marketing you're also marketing yourself and the brand. And that itself is just a route where I just carved out. Nothing is really set. There's not really a path in apparel. You kind of just create your own, and keeping an open mind to ideas, opportunities, leads you into different paths and different fields of work, which was great. I was able to, dabble a little bit into styling on film and entertainment, and that's something I never expected to happen. And from relationship building and being comfortable with speaking to everybody, when we first met, it's, become a great learning experience, but it's also strengthened a lot of communication skills that that has versatility on it, and then also can branch out to different parts of the industry outside of fashion. So my advice, my recommendations are always keep that open mind, but to have your focus, and you never know where these opportunities are going to lead you.
100%. Elle.
Yeah, I was just gonna add, action is a big thing. I think that especially in the creative media, and whether you want to create content or do photography, I think that you should physically do something. Like, take your idea, then physically do it, and just make it happen and see your progression, and also get it out there. And it necessarily doesn't have to be perfect. Don't worry about the perfect camera or the perfect equipment. That stuff doesn't matter. It's the skill and the practice. For instance, I've shot a handful of celebrities and famous people, but I feel like a lot of the stuff that gets seen is for instance, I did a quick little stop motion of the Jowee toy that came out, and then he reposted it. So it's taking these things and just rolling with it and having fun with it. I think sometimes we miss out on the fun part because we're so focused on how can we get seen, rather than just creating something just to create.
That's a great point. Anybody else on the panel? Joey, Lady, Mark.
Darn.
You know, what Elle said is huge. I think a lot of people forget about the fun part about owning a brand. They're just trying to get to make their $1 million real quick, right? So like before Nike, I was even like, man, working at Nike would be my end game, right? Like, oh, I just want to do Nike, right? And then after Nike, I realized that was just like a stepping stone to like having my own brand, right? Like I learned all this knowledge that I would never have learned, and I took that knowledge and brought it over to my brand, when we started Illis. And then I think you just have to have fun. Like that whole first 5 years was all about having fun and just experimenting, trying to make the best that you could make, right? Like just having fun with your brand. And I think a lot of people forget that.
Yeah, really important, especially with the amount of time that you're going to spend. By the way, anyone that's watching this, if you want to make $1 million, starting a clothing line might be one of the toughest ways. Lady, Jowee, do you guys tell us something that you wish you would have known before, or something that has helped guide you as you've developed in your career?
Me, I think it's just the importance of, networking and relationships. That's something that really has helped me. No amount of, going to school or like books can make up for actually having relationships with people in the industry. So, I think, of course, it's a pandemic, but like go out there and like meet people, show them who you are as a person, your personality, talk about your skills, even if you're at a party, even if it's a social thing for fun, for leisure, don't be afraid to talk about your passion and what you're trying to do, because it's really the people you meet that can refer you, hire you, support your brand in some way, help you, produce, manufacture whatever you're trying to reach. If you're trying to go into styling, like work with other people, tell them that you're willing, and just, let them know that that's something you're open to and available to. And yeah, things can really like go from there, just building relationships with people.
Yeah.
I'd like to build to what Lady said. Just show your work to people. Don't be shy about what you're doing, because sometimes when you're young, sometimes you like you're really hard on yourself, and then you don't want to show your work, talk about your work. But now, with the internet, with social, just show your work, and then you'll get to connect with people across the ocean, and then the people will see your work, and you'll be surprised. You'll be working with like brands that you wouldn't imagine you'll be working with. So it's very important to show your work and keep on like improving from the last work you've done. So you learn from that one also.
Okay, great answers. I think, yeah, definitely showing your work. Everyone has the opportunity to launch something and do something, and that can be your resume, and that can really speak for yourself. Lady was talking about networking. Always be ready to tell your story and look for opportunity as well. It looks like we have about 3 minutes left. What I want to try to do is squeeze in a little bit more from everybody. So what I want to do is almost like a lightning round. But tell me a moment in your career that changed your career, maybe a milestone or something like that, because all of you have such grand resumes, and I wish we had another hour for this podcast. I also was thinking we could probably start a brand with the number of people right here and have it be extremely successful. With the product, we could have it distributed in Manila already with Jowee. I mean, everybody here, I was just thinking that's hilarious. That'd be an interesting piece to make a documentary about, Charlie. But before we close out, just share a moment where that changed your career real quick with the audience. And I'll start. In 2017, I spoke at Google, and that changed my career. Before that, I was like, I'm just going to start a clothing company, try to make $1 million and put it all in real estate. But my channel, which I didn't know what I was going to do with it, got me noticed from the people at Google, and I spoke in a panel there. And that changed me. So now it changed my career, where I share my story with all around the world to help other brands. And I'm going to say, Hell, tell us about in your career that changed your career or your trajectory.
I always think about that moment, and it's like the pivotal moment of like, like, how did I get here, right? So it's like you kind of track back. So I go all the way back to when I was like 16, and I used to hang out at this hip hop shop. And at the time, the manager there was like, "Yo, you're here so much. Like, do you want a job? Like, I can't pay you that much, but like, you might as well just like get paid so I can go to LA and go buy some Fat Farm, buy some Mecca for the store, and sell it." Fast forward, I learned about the industry. I got into the industry. I was about fashion. I love fashion. And then as I got older, I went to trade shows. And then that's when I met LRG and I met Jonas. I remember the first day that I met Jonas, I went up to him and I said, "Yo, your brand is dope. Like, I used to like Echo. I used to like 555 Soul, but I don't anymore." And since then, he would just keep giving me free stuff. And it was the same thing. Like, I was just cool. I was just hanging out, and he asked the same question. He was like, "Bro, what do you do? Like, do you want a job? Like, can I help you?" And at the time I was doing photography, and I was like, "Yeah, I do photo. I shoot photos." And he was like, "We're actually looking for a photographer." And yeah, a couple weeks later, he calls me up and he was like, "Let's do a shoot. We're gonna shoot Kanye." And then since then, it's been like Kanye, John Legend, and then, you know, after that, it's just like jumping into this industry and like looking at my life and saying like, wow, like I'm super grateful for like just being in this industry and hip hop and culture. I met John in Vegas, knowing that we live like, what, 30 minutes from each other. But yeah, it's I would say that was the time that changed my life.
Dope. Everybody else, give me a moment in your career that changed your path as we close out. Lady, go.
I think it was just when I got hired by Pete, which is my brother's my husband's older brother, to style a music video for Brian Emanuel now. And I think just that, it was a really, really big video with Skechers China, and like Kinja's was in there, and you know, and in the lab like dance group. So it just propelled my freelance, you know, game to where, okay, now these people started hiring me for other music videos or other like magazine cover, you know, or magazine shoots and stuff like that. So sometimes you just get that one thing and then people remember you and hit you up again. So that really kind of launched my freelance a little like next level, you know.
Dope. Jowee, tell us about a moment in your career.
I think that was in college that I joined this painting competition. Just wanted to like try it out. Eventually, it won and it landed a international scholarship by David Bowie.
Hey.
So, but I was 17 years old. I didn't get to meet David Bowie in Paris, but that was the chance that I had to go to CalArts, and from CalArts, just opened my mind.
Yeah.
That was it.
Oh my God, I want to do a separate podcast on every single one of you. Charlie, give us a moment in your career that kind of changed your path or was significant.
I would say the one point that started changing my mindset with my career was doing that TEDx talk. I immigrated here from the Philippines. You know, just the symbolism of my mother struggling to learn English, and then literally like 15 years later, her daughter is giving a TEDx talk. Like, that was really powerful on a subject that's male dominated in an audience that was an all male liberal arts school. And I didn't even finish college. So it was just like a pivotal moment for me when I knew, like, I can do this and anyone can do this. So that was really important to me.
Okay, Jay, and then Mark, tell us about a moment in your career.
Probably when I started to consult with brands independently, I was sending out emails to of line sheets to every buyer I knew, anyone I worked with, and no one would give me light or day with my signature. I decided to change that, use my nickname, which was Niels. And as soon as I did that, within a week and a half later, I got my first order. I got invited to 2 streetwear parties. The shock value of people when they noticed that I'm not a dude was not only a little bit more like validating, but I was like, I could do it here. So since then, it's, you know, my name is Jeneille, but it's just nice to, you know that you can also, I was like, I myself am a brand, and kind of just shoveling like my own path, and, you know, began networking and building relationships, and led to where I am now.
Mark, close us out. Give us a moment in your career that was pivotal.
I think one of my favorite moments was right after I left Nike. A bunch of my other friends left Nike at the same time, and you know, we're trying to launch Illis, and like, how do we do this? And my friend just happened to be like VP of Beats by Dre. He was sitting next to me at Nike, and then I said, dude, you guys never done a collab yet with a streetwear brand, because this was way back in the beginning, right? They only did it with music artists. And he said, yeah, let's do it. And like 2 weeks later, we had a sample, which was crazy. And then people were just like stoked on all these collabs. That's why I keep doing collaborations, because I think it's really fun.
Oh, I think they're definitely key, especially now in this day and age. Apologize in advance for the schedule. We're 5 minutes over, but I have so many dope people on this panel that I just did it. I want to thank all you guys for being on here. Jowee, thanks for waking up at 3 in the morning to do this. You're early for everybody. And thank you again, Undiscovered SF and Collective Hustle. We appreciate all of you for having us.